Imagine you're 16 years old and you're living on the streets. There are drugs, prostitutes, and pimps all around you. The stench of day-old beer and urine sit right beside you on the sidewalk like two unwanted companions wrapping their arms around you, and you say to yourself, how did I get here? And then you say to yourself, how do I get out? Today, during our brief time together, you're going to have the opportunity to actually learn some survival strategies that literally got me off the streets and through Stanford University. My invitation for you as we begin tonight is very simple. Tell the truth. Now, you don't have to tell it to me. You don't know me. You don't. You don't have to say it out loud. But I invite you to use our time together to tell the truth to yourself about when you've given up on yourself. When you stop dreaming and you stop believing that anything was possible. I invite you during our brief time together, because we only have 30 minutes, to tell your truth. As we look at 3 principles that really made the difference in me being alive. Having the courage to not sell out on you. Caring enough to take an action on behalf of another that's unsolicited. And the courage to solve a problem by creating a crisis that is worthy of your life. If you do that, if you tell that truth, you'll get immense value from our time together. So my questions, will you do that? Yes? Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. It matters to me that you respond, that I know I'm not alone in this. Okay? So you're sitting on that sidewalk and you ask yourself, how did I get here? Rewind to a younger you when you're 12 or 13 years old and you have a brand new jerry curl. Remember that was the thing, right? I mean, in the 80s, jerry curls are a function of the 80s, right? And if you had a jerry curl, it's like, you remember Coming to America? You know, what is it? So glow? What is it? So glow. And you know the stains that are on the back of the furniture with the plastic when it's dripping down? Well, if you had a jerry curl in the 80s and you were 12 years old and you were a black girl, that meant you were beautiful. Imagine. You walk into the house and it's quiet. And you don't know why, but you know that something's not right. You know when it's too quiet, when it's that kind of quiet that's too tense? Something's wrong. You don't know what it is, but you know you need to be aware. You see Mama. She looks at you. You look at her. You're in the bedroom. She takes a pair of scissors, and within seconds, she begins to cut. And you watch your hair fall on your arms, on your lap, on the bed. You say nothing. You just sit there and you don't move. And in that moment, you decide it's something big, something life-altering, something that's going to have you in 4 short years living hand-to-mouth on the streets. what do you decide? Literally, what did you decide?
Leave.
Well, you decided to leave, but there was something, very good, thank you. You decided to leave, but before you decided to leave, what had you leave? What did you say to yourself about you, about life, about another person? I give up. What else?
I'm worth more.
I'm worth, well, I didn't go that way. I wish I had. She said, I'm worth more. I didn't go that direction. I went the other way. I went, I'm worthless. Worth more, I think it would have been a whole different life. Can y'all see that? Because in those moments, when somebody you trust and love does something that so violates your sense of self. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about hair. We're not talking about MS, cancer, or AIDS, no? Make sense? But for a 12-year-old girl, when fitting in means everything and beauty means you matter, what's being cut with each damp tress is you. Your sense of self. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Okay? So you decide that you are ugly, you are stupid, and you've got to get away from her. So you take to the streets. Now, I say mama, but if you look in your life, we've all had those mama moments, right? Now, yours might not have been a mama. It could have been a boss who took credit for your work. It could have been your best friend who flirted with your significant other. It could have been a deal that you had financed and then it fell through. It could have been the mortgage industry. But something happened where you decided something about you, and that was it on you, and your life was set down that path forever. So you take to the streets. Now, if you think through that moment for you, take a moment and just identify. And again, you don't have to tell it to me, right? But identify for yourself that moment for you. I'll be quiet. You can write it down. Feel free to take notes. Okay, I gave you a piece of paper so you can use your journal. But see if you can identify that moment for you and see if you can identify what you decided. What you decided. See, what got me on the streets wasn't the haircut. What got me on the streets? Wasn't it? How many of y'all know what I'm talking about? It's the decisions that shape us, not the incident. See, if you spend your time working on the incident, not the decision, you won't get a new result. You won't get a new business and you won't get a new relationship because you're working on the symptom. You're not working on the source. Are you with me? Okay? So, take a moment and just jot down, what did you decide? I'll be quiet and give you that for a second. You're doing great. I really appreciate the richness with which you listen and your engagement. It's wonderful being with you. Okay? Look up when you finish. You have a pretty smile. Okay, great. Take off my jacket because I'm hot. Oh, thanks for telling me. Imagine you're sitting in the house. You're on the couch. You start to hear sounds, screams and yells and running and pushing and bodies pushing against each other. You go to the front door and there's a screen door that's hanging on by a hinge and a half and you push it open and then there's these bright lights in your eyes, and you can't see, but you can hear all these bodies going back and forth, and you hear somebody say, "Come out with your hands up." You throw your hands up, but you can't see because the light is still in your eyes, and then you can feel the heat of the light move away. And you know how when you look at the light too long, you have those spots, that blue and white, those spots, you can't see anything because your eyes haven't adjusted. Well,